Have you ever imagined dedicating 2 decades of your life to a company only to be discarded in less than 10 minutes? Now, let me ask you something. What would you do if you discovered that everything you built could be turned against the very people who let you go? This isn't just a story about getting fired. It's about strategy, about silence, and about knowing the perfect moment to act. Because sometimes losing is exactly what you need to win. My name is Daniel Vieira, and after 20 years at a company called Nexus Core, I was called into a meeting that changed everything. The room was cold, silent, the kind of place that tells you what's about to happen before anyone even says a word. Across the table sat Helena Duarte, my manager, and someone from HR. Daniel, we're restructuring your position. Classic. That rehearsed tone, that fake empathy, that attempt to sound professional while taking years of your life away. We ask that you clear your desk by Friday. I just nodded. No arguments, no drama. And that's exactly what made them uncomfortable, because they were expecting a reaction. They were expecting desperation. But what they didn't know was that I had been waiting for that moment. A few weeks ago, something almost unnoticeable changed everything. An internal email that was never meant to reach me. Inside it, the leadership team was discussing something simple but brutal. We need to replace Daniel before we formalize ownership of the technology. That's when I understood. This wasn't just a layoff, it was a plan. And in that moment, I decided to play the same game. Let me explain something important. For years, I was responsible for developing the core system of the company, an algorithm that processed large-scale data and basically powered Nexus Core's main product. Without it, the company simply wouldn't function the same way. But there was one detail. The most recent improvements, the most valuable ones, I built them outside the company, on my own time, on my own equipment. And that changes everything. Now, pay close attention, because this is where things start to turn. While they were planning to fire me, I was filing a patent in my name, with proof, with timestamps, with everything documented. And by Friday, as I was clearing my desk, I already knew exactly what was going to happen on Monday. That same night, I met someone who completely changed the course of the story. Lucas Faraz, CEO of Nexus Core's biggest competitor. He wasn't surprised. In fact, he had been expecting this. "Do you realize what this means?" he asked me. I did, but hearing it out loud made it real. You're not just changing companies, you're about to change the entire market. We closed the deal right there. Direct, no hesitation, a leadership position, equity in the company, and something that meant more to me than anything else: recognition. Now, let me ask you something. How many times have you seen someone do all the work and someone else take the credit? Exactly. That's what this story is also about. Friday came and went. Goodbyes, sympathetic looks, that awkward atmosphere of people who think you've lost. But I didn't correct anyone, because sometimes silence is the best strategy. Then Monday arrived, 7 a.m. The announcement went live. Company acquires exclusive rights to a groundbreaking technology and welcomes its creator as Director of Innovation. My name was there, for the first time, exactly where it should have been. Now imagine what was happening on the other side. At Nexus Core headquarters, emergency meetings, legal teams in panic, executives trying to understand what just happened, because suddenly the technology that powered their entire product was no longer theirs. And here's the most interesting part. They only had two options: pay to use what used to be theirs, or rebuild everything from scratch, and neither option was good. My former team, every single one of them received offers, every single one. Because talent isn't something you trap, it's something you value. In the following days, the market reacted. Their company dropped, the new one grew, clients started migrating, and all of this in less than a week. Now stop for a second and think about this. It wasn't luck, it wasn't revenge, it was preparation. A few days later, I got a call from HR, the same person who had let me go. Maybe we can talk. Interesting, right? When you have no power, you're replaceable. When you do, doors start knocking again. But this time, it was a different game. Everything went through legal, the way it always should have. Weeks later, the company announced a leadership change. The CEO was gone, management shifted, and finally, they understood the mistake. Months later, I was on stage at a conference talking about innovation, about recognition, about something no one teaches, but everyone learns the hard way. Your value is only ignored until someone realizes they need it. And here's the most important part of this entire story. It was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving that I knew my worth. Today, looking back, I don't feel anger, I don't feel revenge, just one certainty. Underestimating someone can be the most expensive mistake a company makes. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were in my position, would you walk away quietly or do exactly the same thing? If this story kept you hooked until the end, make sure to like and subscribe, because there are more stories like this that show how things really work behind the scenes. And tell me in the comments, do you think the company deserved what happened, or could this disaster have been avoided?